Okay. Okay. So welcome to Oils and Pets and Oils. Um, we're excited you're here with us, and we're excited to share some of our experiences and some things we have learned. And we have Shayla with us, one of our team members, who we feel is kind of the resident pet guru.
Yep.
So we're definitely going to have her share experiences and answer questions if we cannot for you. What I want to start with is that I know there are a lot of fears and kind of myths with pets and oils. And I just want to tell you that I have been using essential oils with pets for ever since I started with essential oils, which is like 7 years now. And I diffuse them. I rub the oils all over myself all the time. And they're, you know how pets are, they're all over me. They sleep with me. And I diffuse oils, and I've never had any problems. So I just wanted to kind of start with that. Of course, it depends on, the oil brands you're using. So who knows, when someone posts on, Facebook or whatever, what sort of oils they're using, what brands of oils. So you always have to pay attention to that because for those of you who weren't on our first oil talk where we talked, really about the basics of oils, doTERRA is very, very careful and can't think of the word, committed to the purity of their oils. And so making sure there's no pesticides, there's no synthetics, there's no additives, there's no fillers. And when you get an oil at Ross or maybe even Sprouts, I think they have better brands at Sprouts, but or Walmart, for instance, you don't know what is in that oil. So with doTERRA, you can be sure that there are no harmful additives or pesticides or anything like that that could potentially harm yourself or your pets. So I just wanted to start with that. I do have a couple slides, and I know Bex, I don't know if you want me to show the slides. Maybe I'll let you talk, and then I'll show the slides later because there are just some kind of little tips and tricks, and I like to take pictures, so you're welcome to take pictures of these slides, and I'll show them a little later, but just so you can go back and refer to them if you cannot remember all the things we've told you. Also, this is going to be recorded if you're not taking notes. So with that, I think I'll let you go, and then I'll show these slides later. I pulled up a couple recipes, like a bath wash, and I think a flea spray as well, so we can show those so people can kind of take pictures for the ingredients and stuff.
I have a friend who's trying to get on, which is perfect, and she's having a hard time, so that's why I'm like looking vaguely at my phone right now. How do I help her?
Do you want the number? Because she can type in the meeting ID.
Yeah, let's do that. Sang, go ahead.
Someone looks like they're getting on right now. Is it Chris?
No.
Okay, well, they just joined us. Okay, so when you're ready, I can tell you the number if you want it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's 925.
Yeah.
316. 1940.
1940. You need Zoom downloaded on your phone. Terry, it's Sang. She's having problems. Can you help her if I get on with this class? Let's see. Sang's on. She made it.
Okay.
Hey, Sang. All right, so we're going to mute everybody so that we're not all talking at the same time. Okay, we got it. Okay. All right, so we were lucky enough in, I believe, 2018 to go to the convention, and there was a veterinary panel that spoke for an entire section of the day all about the safety of using essential oils with animals. And it was a phenomenal panel to sit through. At the time, I did not have a pet. I've never had a pet. I was not really interested in the content, but I took really good notes because I knew a lot of my people had pets and would want the information. And it's not something I had any experience in. And so I have a pet now. So my life has changed a smidge. But I never had a dog. So I would never know like any of these things or have these questions. So the way that I've got my notes is pretty much the way that that this panel actually presented all the information. And the first thing they mentioned is that quality and purity is important. And Gina just mentioned that. And so don't be misled by what you're seeing on Facebook. If, you know, Melaleuca is not safe, or if, you know, you shouldn't use essential oils on your pets, or my dog died from diffusing. They weren't diffusing doTERRA, put it that way. It's something else. So that was the main thing I took from it, that the purity and the quality of the oil is the biggest, most impactful piece that you can know and feel safe and secure with. They mentioned a book that they highly recommended called Spoil Your Pet, and it's a practical guide to using essential oils in dogs and cats. And it was by a Dr. Roark. And I'll go ahead and I'll type that in the comments later on or wherever when we post it. But that I might get that book. I'd forgot about that. So the top tips or things that they came up with initially were that, yes, it is safe to use around your pets. But you always want to, when you're diffusing, go ahead and leave the door open so that animals can leave the room. Because just like us, there may be a scent that they really don't like. So go ahead, if you are diffusing oils, to make sure that you're leaving the door open so that they can leave if it's either too intense or they just don't like it. Because we have the olfactory nerve that manages all of the senses. And I believe the animals have hundreds of those. And so what we smell slightly, they smell an awful lot. And I believe that's the case with all of their senses. I'm not 100% sure, but like why dogs can hear noises that we can't and things like that. Their senses are very heightened. By using essential oils, you're going to be reducing potential toxins to protect your animals as they move around your home. So by trading out, you know, regular floor cleaners and things like that, you can really go ahead and use all your essential oil products, and it's actually going to be safer for your pet rather than using, I don't know, bleach or whatever else it is maybe that people are still using. Topical use is completely safe. Just show caution. So dilute as you would with children. So if you're going to make them their own personal roller, do around 3 to 10 drops, 3 to 6 drops, sorry, in a 10 ml bottle with fractionated coconut oil, and just keep it super light, and so that you can build up rather than using too much initially.
I found a dilution chart, so I think it's a good reference.
Jasper.
So I'll show it when I show the images. I'll show that, and you can snap. People can snap.
Jasper, you're shouting. Okay, sorry. So now I'm just going to go through a list of either oils or issues that may come up, and I believe it's mostly with cats and dogs. Looking at my notes, but just bear with me. Jasper, no talking. Okay, I'm gonna have to get rid of him.
While she's getting rid of her child, I want to say also that there are many vets that are now using, let me mute her real quick, that are now using essential oils as part of their protocols. And I actually found one here in San Marcos where I live. And so he's Eastern Western, and he actually, because I have a dog with some anxiety, and he actually, I wasn't sure if she maybe had an illness or if she was just anxious. And so he did some x-rays and made sure she wasn't in pain. but he was like, have you tried copaiba and, lavender? And I was like, well, actually, I am using that on her every day. And so anyway, I think it's really great that you can actually find veterinarians that are using oils on small pets and large pets too, like horses. And so anyway, it's very cool. So look for that in your area if you would like. Also, Sarah just put in the chat the name of that book that Bex mentioned. So if you guys want to click on that link, it will take you to that. Okay, I'm going to unmute you now, Bex.
Gina, he won't leave. He's still here. Okay, so the first oil is the big controversial oil, the tea tree. And so it says to show caution with cats and dogs as they metabolize it very differently. And Melaleuca is an oil that it's not that they metabolize all essential oils differently, but Melaleuca they do. And so they don't metabolize it out as quickly. And it stays in their system much longer than needed. And so they offer some really great substitutes, which would be geranium and arbor vitae.
And I do have a slide of that. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
The next thing they talk about is fleas and ticks. And this mortifies me because I didn't know this was a thing I needed to take care of. So help me. Okay, so all year round, apparently, it's a really good idea to use arbor vitae, geranium, lemongrass, and cedarwood with rosemary, and just lightly mist your pet's bellies. And then place on the oils on your hands and then pet them. And the rule of thumb when trying to get the oils onto your animals would be to rub against the grain of the fur, the way that it grows, rather than along the grain, because then that's just going to stay on top of their fur. When you rub against kind of how the fur is growing, then you're going to get the oils more into them. So that's arbor vitae, geranium, lemongrass, cedarwood, and rosemary is great for fleas and ticks. And you can also soak their collars in a similar kind of combination to help with that as well.
But again, very diluted because like we said, their senses are very heightened. Anne-Marie has a question here too.
Sorry, you went through the oils really fast. Geranium, arbor vitae, lemongrass, cedarwood, and what?
Rosemary.
Okay, thank you.
Rosemary. And they also say that you could just use the TerraShield spray as well.
Shayla's saying yes. Do you want to say something, Shayla, on this, on the fleas and ticks and stuff?
Sure.
Since you live in the forest.
I have two computers on, and I'm like, the mouse isn't working. That's not the mouse, it's the iPad. The TerraShield is amazing. I've been using it a lot when we're hiking on both me and the dogs, because you guys have fleas. We don't have fleas or ticks up here because it freezes, but we do have mosquitoes like crazy, and it's that stuff is awesome. So that's just a big thumbs up. And for sure, dilute. When I have something, we have a protozoal problem up here. So like Giardia, I don't know if it's exactly Giardia, but it's explosive diarrhea, and it's really super not fun.
We've had that.
And so I have a, just a 15 ml that I've made up this concoction, and I put it in capsules. And right now in the summer, they get it pretty much every day because they're drinking out of lakes and streams, and it's super not fun.
Been there, done that. Once is enough, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so that, I just put it super diluted, though. It's probably in the 15 ml bottle, it's probably 50 drops of oil, but then the rest FCO. So that'd be 200 drops of FCO to the 50 drops of oil.
Yeah. And then when you're saying you're using the TerraShield, are you using the spray? I mean, I think that's so handy. If you guys haven't tried that, it's like let me grab it.
Yeah, it's a similar size to like the hand sanitizing spray. It's
So,
great.
yeah, and it's diluted, and so I think this is just handy dandy for anyone who likes is not a good mixer of their own blends, and they just make it for you. So for fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shayla.
So the next thing I have is a little like the seasonal threats. It's the exact same as what it would be for humans. So lemon, lavender, and peppermint, with half a tablespoon of fractionated coconut oil. So 1 drop of each with half a tablespoon of fractionated coconut oil. And then you want to rub that on the pads, ankles, abdomen, and tips of ears.
So if
You muted.
yeah, sorry. So if they're having like allergies, yeah, okay. So yeah, very cool.
It says here, do not let cats ingest any citrus oils. So if a recipe ever requires a citrus, switch the lemon for lemongrass. And then it's not actually a citrus anymore, but it has very similar chemical constituents. And then go ahead and add frankincense. So for cats, no citrus ever. Also no tea tree. But go ahead and trade that out for lemongrass and frankincense. Go and tell your dada.
I did get some interesting. I've never used oils with cats because I don't have them, but I did get some tips yesterday that I will share. But yeah, I because I've always kind of heard don't use oils with cats, but you definitely can, and people do. So
that's it. And I've also heard the same thing, but it seems fine. So the first aid kit, they highly recommend that you have on hand frankincense and lavender. Hey, your pets are expensive. So for any kind of abrasions or itchers, anything like that, myrrh is a wonderful one to use as well with any kind of first aid issue. And helichrysum is phenomenal for bleeding. So you'd want to mix that in a spray bottle, they're saying, with aloe.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I did have someone say, yes, she uses frank and lavender for her dog who gets pustules on his belly and usually needs antibiotics. And she added copaiba too. So copaiba, frank, and lavender. And he didn't need the antibiotics for the pustules. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's really great. For dry skin, which I think I'm going to have an issue with my puppy. And I can't believe I've never thought about doing this. So for dry skin, yes, dear.
Do you know where the gummies are?
The gummies, I don't know, but I'll find them later.
No, the gummies.
Go ask your dad.
Gummies.
No.
So
for dry,
the minion gummies.
I'll find them in a minute, okay? But you got to let me do this, or I'll not find you anything ever again.
Now I'm not doing anything that you say ever again.
Go away. Never hit a child on recorded TV. I know, I got it.
Oh,
if I throw something, you can't see though. Okay, so for dry skin, I have this cute little picture here of a triangle. And the foundation of this triangle is much wider than the top. The top represents the symptom of the dry skin. The bottom of that triangle, guess what? It's your gut. So for gut health for your pets, if they have dry skin, it's to do with their diet, and it's to do with their gut. So you want to be trying to get omegas into them, Terrazyme, which is the digestive enzyme, which is out of stock and we all need, and it's going to sell off the shelf as soon as they have it again. And then probiotics. And I don't know why I've never thought about doing this, but the kids probiotics with doTERRA, the PB Assist Junior, it's in like a little, it's like a candy pixie stick. And so we could easily shake that in to his food or his water, and he would lap it up, which would be awesome. Same with the Terrazymes. You can just open them up and sprinkle a little bit in their food as and when. My dog particularly likes things hidden in brie. So whenever I'm trying to get something in him that he doesn't want, I wrap it in brie because he's fancy. He's a fancy TJ Street dog.
Wow.
And then omegas. So we actually do a kids omega, which is a liquid form rather than a pill format. And so if you're wanting to start much slower, which is recommended, maybe use the kids ones rather than the adult ones, because then you can manage how much you're giving them of that dose rather than giving them a full shot of omega. So if there's any skin issues, again, it's omegas, Terrazyme, and probiotics. For just general health, you want to always have on hand frankincense, copaiba, digesten, and On Guard. And I have a little testimonial about digesten. Is it okay if I share, Gina? Do I have time? So digesten is a really strong, very pungent oil. And it's kind of polarizing. People either love digesten or they hate digesten. Everybody is in awe of its abilities, but not everybody likes the smell of it. And so doTERRA do it in different ways so that you can take it as a capsule and not even have to smell it. Or they do the oil where, I have a good friend who actually likes to drink it in her water every day because she thinks it tastes good and smells amazing. I think that's a little crazy, but hey ho, we're all different. So Charlie, we adopted from TJ. Phil, can you close the door, please? Charlie, we adopted from TJ, and he was a little street dog. He came away from his mom a little early, and so he was kind of young when we first got him. Anyway, he had a plethora of digestive issues, and potty training with soupy poopy is not fun. I called my resident oil expert too late. I called Shayla way too late in this whole process. But we had some issues, and then he started throwing, he's been on so many courses of antibiotics and goodness knows what else, which is hilarious because I don't even give myself and my kids antibiotics. But this dog got everything because I had no idea what I was doing. I was freaking out, and there was soupy poopy, and I was just stressed. So anyway, he'd had an upset tummy again for 5 days, and then he starts throwing up, and then there's nothing coming out of him at all, and he's just heaving and squatting, and I just thought, oh, it's not good. And then he was very lethargic, not eating or drinking for 24 48 hours, and at this point he's 6 pounds, if that. He's tiny. So I called the vets, and I'm like, hey, so this is going on, and they made me feel like a bad mom because they were like, how long's it been going on? And I was like, oh, I think this is day 6. And they were like, you need to bring him in now. I was like, oh, sorry. So I took him in, and the vet called me straight back because, drive-through vets, it's all weird. She called me, and she's like, I can't palpate his abdomen. I think he's got a blockage. And I was like, oh, okay. What does that mean? Kind of okay, what do I do? And she said, I want to do an x-ray, and then I'm recommending exploratory surgery. And I was like, what? No, are you kidding me? Anyway, so I convinced her to do the x-ray and not the exploratory surgery. And because I just was like, this is insane. We got this little TJ Street dog 10 weeks ago. You're just joking with me right now. And it was going to be thousands and thousands of dollars. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. I was like, okay, I'm not there. I'm not going to do it. And so she did the x-ray, and she said his abdomen's, I can't even view his abdomen because his stomach is so jam-packed of food. And I was like, weird, because he hasn't eaten in, I don't know, 2 days really. It's been 2 full days really that he hasn't eaten anything. And so I said, I'm going to take him home. And she said, well, we'll bring him back tomorrow and we'll redo the x-ray because hopefully then something will have shifted and we can see what the blockage is. And I was like, okay. But I'm like, he hasn't eaten. So what on earth is in his stomach? That must be the blockage is what I was thinking. She crazy. That's what it is. That's the blockage. So anyway, I took him home, and she was like, I really think we should do exploratory surgery. I really don't think you should take him home. I'm not sure you're going to have the puppy tomorrow. Something devastational could happen through the night. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what to do with this, but I'm not about to sign my life away to you in hundreds and thousands of dollars. It's just not, I don't know. I was just being mean, I guess. I was cold. So I was like, right, okay, take the puppy home. And so I told Phil, my husband, I'm like, okay, so I'm not sure if the puppy's going to survive the night. It may die, but let's just this just seems weird. Like I'm coming home. So called a friend and she was like, have you tried your oils on him yet? And I said, oh no, I haven't. Standard juvenile person who lives her life with oils, but just didn't think to use them on the dog. And so when I got home, I put Digestin on my hands. I like literally like a drop. And then I got loads of fractionated coconut oil. Like I was a grease ball, and I rubbed it on his belly, and he's a spaz. Like he just goes so fast that you can't grab him, and he knows he's crazy. And so I rubbed the oils as much as I could on his belly, but I mean, I don't know how much I got on him. And I rubbed it on his paws because I was thinking he'll lick it off because he won't like it. And then he like spazzes around and rolls around until he gets the scent off him. And we were outside in the front yard, and this is the most movement I've seen from him in like 48 hours. And he goes outside and he does, well, let's just say the blockage moved out. And it was within like 10 minutes of being home and doing this, the blockage was gone. And it was pure grass and wood chip. Pure. Like there was nothing else coming out of him except grass and wood chip. So Digestin is really good for animals, especially when they're trying to charge you thousands of dollars for a blockage. I mean, there are issues, I'm sure, where a surgery would be necessary, like if they've eaten a chew toy or something. But for this, I just stuck to my guns and I tried it. And I don't think I got a lot on him. I got just enough on him that he licked it off his paw and it went in him. And within anybody who's used Digestin for those issues themselves knows within 10 to 15 minutes, your issue is taken care of. It either settles or it eradicates. And let's just say we eradicated the issue. And he was so proud of himself. Like he was so much better. And I went back the following morning for the follow-up x-ray, and they were like, oh, everything's fine. The abdomen's fine. Everything's moved out of his stomach. He's good. I was like, yeah, I know. And they were like, what did you do? And I said, oh, I used some oils. And, you know, it's like oh, you used oils? Needless to say, I now go to Gina's vet. Who would have told me to do that in the first place instead of trying to cut him open? So yeah. Digestin is a wonderful oil to use on the belly area, and then just try and put it somewhere where you know they're going to get it internally. So like lick it if they like it and they want to lick it off your hand. Awesome. My dog would not do that. So I just kind of wrestled him, shoved it on his paw, and then he licked it, and it worked. Gina, do you have a story about Digestin?
I do. Yes. My dog gets like a gurgly tummy, and so if she's sleeping near me, it gurgles and gurgles and gurgles and keeps me awake. So I have used Digestin as well, and you can tell she's uncomfortable, and then within, like you said, within a few minutes she settles down and goes to sleep. So yeah, I'm sure Shayla has a Digestin story. Maybe Sarah has pets too. Anyone else have a Digestin story? I heard several on another group. I asked, and yeah, Digestin definitely came up a lot of times. Shayla. Yeah,
so the mixture that I make for the Giardia protozoal infection has a lot of Digestin in it, and that's what it called for. I have, for any of you guys, most of you guys know this, but I have the veterinary desk reference that is just oils. It's a huge book. It's like $75. But if you guys need anything, just hit me up, because it's fun to look at. And it's got not just dogs and cats, but horses and birds and ferrets and rabbits. So it's got lots and lots of info that's fun to look up. But yeah, the Digestin is huge in that recipe.
I didn't know you had that big giant Bible. That's awesome.
It's huge. It's awesome.
Very cool.
I love Shayla's random selection of animals. Horses, ferrets, birds. Brilliant.
That's what's in the book.
It's a very diverse book. Well, yeah, it's got every animal. Snakes. That's brilliant. I love it. Brilliant.
I have a real quick question.
Yes.
Relating to abdomen. So I have a kitty. She's 9 weeks old. And they always say that the kittens are born with worms and things like that. They want to do all this parasite exam. And I was like, you know what? I think she's fine. there's no symptoms, no nothing, but they, you know, the vet, when you take them in for their first check, they're like, well, you know, we should do a fecal exam and this and that, and we should do like a worm deworming and all this. Do you think digestin would work for that if she showed symptoms?
Shayla says yes.
Absolutely. But just remember, especially with the little ones, like Beck's probably got some on her dog, obviously, but like the smallest amount you can think of using, like dipping a toothpick in the digestin and then how, you know, then putting that on your hands. For cats, they talk about the petting technique, they call it a raindrop technique, which is a lot like what's it called that Alicia does, that on the backbone?
Cells.
Yes, like just super diluted right along the backbone. And then also I use this for my cat because she's very furry. She's got super long hair. I put digestin and frankincense in a cup of baking soda, and I sprinkle just a tiny bit in the litter box so that every time they're using the litter box, they breathe it in, but it's not so strong that it's overpowering.
That's genius, Shayla. I love that.
So she loves playing in a litter box. She's always moving it from one side to the other.
Yeah. So frankincense and what did you say? Digestin. Oh, cool.
Okay.
Just because it helps to get the fur balls to go through her, because she's a 15-pound long-haired cat.
The fur balls are gnarly. I remember that.
Yeah, it used to be when I first got her, it was every day, and now it's once or twice. Well, we'll say once every 2 weeks. I found a doozy this morning. I was like, is that from the dog?
That is such a cool tip. See, that's why we love you, Shayla. I mean, we love you for lots of reasons, but cool.
Definitely. I have no information on the deworming and all that stuff. I did it all because I had no idea what I should and shouldn't do. Plus, I got my little dog from a dirty little spot, like it wasn't the cleanest of areas. So I didn't know. But knowing now what I know, I probably wouldn't have done it all.
So I think something that's interesting, I use cedarwood every night to on my pillow to like help me sleep, and so it's on my hands and it's on my pillow. And again, my dogs, they're part Chihuahua, both of them, so they nuzzle under the covers and they never have flea problems, and I feel like it's because of my sleeping issues. So they're constantly getting cedarwood on them somehow, and lavender in the bed. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. So Bex, do you have more notes? How are you doing on your notes? Just let me know.
I'm on my last page now. So
okay, cool. And then we can show these images.
Yeah, they said I have a little snippet on horses. I don't know if we need that, but they do mention the Copaiba and Aroma Touch for any kind of like muscle aches, joint aches, things like that. Very calming for the pet, soothing support for muscles. And then Balance and Copaiba. Balance, Copaiba, and Digestin were like the 3 top oils I've noticed, like that I kept starring constantly, that every single vet on that panel kept coming up with. Like they kept coming back to, oh yeah, and then use Balance. Or, oh yeah, now you know, like always make sure you have Digestin, and the same with Copaiba. So they were the 3 top oils, because obviously the Balance will help with the anxiety, and it'll really calm your pet. They say to use serenity, lavender, and frankincense to calm your pet most of all, and to always go against the grain of the fur. And the best place to be putting the oils would be on the paws and the pads, and then around the ankles of the dogs and cats, and then on the tips of their ears. I think I already mentioned. But they're just interesting spots to think about when you put in the oils. And the main rule of thumb was obviously, which we both mentioned, but the potency of the oil, the clarity, I guess, the actual purity of the oil. So make sure we are using doTERRA products, make sure we are diluting them. And then it's perfectly safe to use whatever's at your fingertips. Just make sure that you're introducing one oil at a time and do it slowly with dilution so that you know either, yeah, my pet likes this, no, my pet doesn't, yes, I'm getting benefits, no, we're not, because they can't tell you what they're experiencing. So one oil at a time is super important. But yeah, that's pretty much all my notes.
So I want to talk a bit about anxiety and what do they call that when you leave and the pets are anxious, separation anxiety. Also, since a lot of people adopt pets, which I think is, the best way to go, but you don't know what this pet has been through in their, short life or longer life. And so calming oils are important to use. And balance, lavender, copaiba, those are 3 I use all the time with my anxious puppy dog. And she actually comes over, like I'll go to the oil box and I'll be like, Dory, come get your oils. And she, she's not a great listener, but you can see her like slowly coming over to me with her head kind of like, hey, I'm ready, and I put just like half a drop and some jojoba or coconut, any carrier oil. And I rub it, like I massage her neck and I get a little bit on her collar so it stays. And then I, do this on her ears and down her spine. And then she's good. And she likes it every day for sure. So just like humans. I have a friend who also has rescues, and she's like, these dogs would just hide under the bed. And especially one of them, she's like, you could barely get him to come out. But then she started using lavender on him, and now he like jumps up on the bed and he rolls over on his back and he's just like, oil me up, it's like a routine. So they really do appreciate it. I mean, nobody wants to feel anxious, not even our pets. So that's a really great use for the oils for sure. Sarah, do you want to share any testimonials you have with your pup? You have 2 or 1 now? I can't remember.
I have 2 dogs. Yeah, I was gonna kind of say the same adoption story because I rescued 2, and one is just, she's a nervous Nelly like all the time. And I use copaiba, balance, and frankincense as like a main. I use lavender every now and then. But I was gonna ask Shayla too, in terms of diffusing, would you have to do anything different in terms, I don't, but I didn't know if there was anything that we should, when you talk about dilution and with like animals, do you cut your diffusion rate down in terms of diffusing oils as well? Versus
That's so funny that you asked that. I did a class 2 or 3 weeks ago, and one of the people in my class was like, well, yeah, I got rid of my diffuser. I got it as a gift, but I got rid of it because of my dogs. I was like, what? Because your diffuser only does such a small area of your home. As long as your animals can get away from it if they need to. Like I never change when I'm diffusing, I never change any of it for them.
Okay.
And
I don't either. I have it in the kitchen and it's just,
Yeah. And the one I have on my desk is a stronger one. And most of the time when I'm working at my desk, there'll be one dog here, one there, and the cat will be up on the bunk bed. So it can't be, they would be running away if they didn't like it. So, yeah, I haven't read anything that says differently. And as long as you're not, I think one of those things that happened with that Melaleuca and the dogs was that she had them in a super small room and they couldn't get away from the smell.
Mm-hmm. So too intense. Yeah.
No way out.
Yeah. Cool.
I also wanted to say that I bought a little diffuser. This is their collar.
Oh yeah.
And I have to and this little diffuser thing, this little pink thing. Oh my gosh, where's the camera?
There you are. Yeah.
Little pink thing just attaches to their collar, and it has a little kind of like a pellet in there, and then you put the oils
Stop.
in there.
I love that.
So yeah, so like when we take them for walks, I mean, the unfortunate thing is that they don't wear them in the house kind of thing. So she's not like got it on all the time, but I'll put it on like say for like fireworks or like going for a walk, and I'll kind of, I'll put it on them as well, but then put the diffuser on at least Zelda. But that was from essentialbracelet.com. I think they're based out of Canada. I'm not really sure. But then I bought this little cute little, oh my gosh, this background, sorry.
See the cat in the bug bed?
Oh yeah, there she is.
Oh, black and white.
I
Let me try this.
bet you could find those on Amazon too, the pet diffusers.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, this little book, it was $5. So it's just kind of like a little handy dandy little recipes,
Nice.
motion sickness, just a couple of recipes, and it's just for dogs and cats. You can, all kinds of vets out there that, give suggestions to different animals and stuff, but this is just for dogs and cats.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, Janet Rourke, the Essential Vet, has, if you follow her, she does, public Facebook lives and information, and she does like a private group as well, but she has a lot of info in terms of pets and essential oils.
Oh.
But yeah, anxiety is a big one for me, for my doggies.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing. I was going to say also, I learned yesterday that this woman has a very high-strung cat and gets overstimulated. She diffuses adaptive, and the cat sits like right next to the diffuser. So, who knew? Adaptive for cats.
Wow. I have to say, the only oil so far that Charlie doesn't, and I'm sorry to use the word spaz, but spaz out, like he literally is like this, 10 million movements to the dozen, is adaptive. And so if I put it down, he'll come and smell it. Now, I won't stay long, but he will smell it. That's the only one he'll smell.
That's funny. My girlfriend has like I think it's a Doberman Pinscher, and she was a rescue too. And she is the most hilarious thing. When my girlfriend gets her oils out, she spazzes out, and she's this huge dog, but she's doing these circles, and it's like she thinks she's this tiny little dog in their little house. And my friend is like,
over.
I know. My friend is like, she does this every time I put like an oil like near her. She's just like, you should see her just running in circles and like just like acting. It's just so weird. So
That's Charlie.
you should try adaptive with her. Okay, and then the other thing for people with cats, when my cat has a lot of sneezes or gets in a sneezing spell, she dilutes the tiniest bit of cardamom and pets him down his spine where he can't reach to lick. Works instantly. So that's interesting because my dogs get in sneezing spells too. So never heard of that. Cardamom. Okay.
I love cardamom.
Me too. I'm going to share my screen real quick so I can show you these images if anybody wants to take pictures. So this was about diffusing safely. What we talked about, like have it be an open area, the doors open, just in case they want to leave the room. Oh, place it where they cannot knock it over. That's a good tip. Okay. Yeah. Topical use. Apply it along the spine, ear tipping, like we said, massage, hot or cold compress. That's, yeah, like if they have some sort of boil or something. I hate that word, but.
I put him in the bathtub as well. Do you do that, Gina?
Well, I do put them in the soap I use. So yeah, I'll make a little mixture of cedarwood and lavender, and then in their dog soap, which I just use my Castile soap. But yeah, I'll put it right in. Yep. Internal use. So small animals, 1 drop. I would probably even do less. I mean, I'm a less is more. They're so intense. Large animals, I would do 1 drop. If that, mixed with food, put in capsules, dosing syringes. Only use oils labeled for internal use. So remember on your bottle of oils, if it has supplemental facts and information, then it is safe and meant to be used internally. Cats, topical use means internal use. Other options. So we talked about this. I don't know if anyone wants to take a picture of this, but Bex mentioned instead of melaleuca, you can use geranium, myrrh, or cedarwood. Instead of wintergreen or birch, frankincense, copaiba, aroma touch. Instead of cassia, which is a cinnamon, well, it's similar to cinnamon. On guard, oregano, thyme. Instead of peppermint or spearmint, cardamom, and arbor vitae. Using common sense, we talked about this. Dilute, as you know, a lot. Know their health status, work with your vet. Do not use oils in their eyes, in their ear canals, on their nose or sensitive areas. Caution around pregnant, nursing, young, or tiny animals. Okay, so this was dilution ratios, and I thought this was pretty good. I mean, I might even, for the small dogs, use a half a drop. Or sometimes, you know, you can just touch the top of your oil bottle and then dilute that for a tiny dog or a cat. So if anyone wants to take a picture of this, I thought this was the best one I've seen. Some of the, you know, recipes I saw were like, you know, 10 drops of, you know, like there was like, I don't know, a ton of drops in this tiny little, and then rub a little fraction of coconut oil. I was like, oh, that's too much. See, even this one, I cut it in half because I was like, a little goes a long way. So this was a dog shampoo recipe.
Oh, look, dry shampoo.
And
Would that
dry-
be for if your dog's stinky?
Yeah, I should give this to my neighbor. They have a stinky dog. And they bathe her all the time and she's still stinky. She just has a stinky coat.
I have a really good dry shampoo recipe as well that uses oatmeal instead.
Mm.
So it's oatmeal, baking soda, and I don't remember what oils I put in it, but I've got it written down in my recipe book. But it's pretty awesome. And then it doesn't like the cornstarch to me is just a little weird.
Okay.
But you just brush it in and vacuum your floor because it gets all over the floor. But it's awesome.
Or do it outside.
Yeah, there's that, but not in the winter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not in your winter.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay. And then this was an all natural flea and tick spray. And again, like I said here, I would cut back to 3 drops of lavender and cedarwood and 1 drop of peppermint and myrrh in an 8-ounce bottle. You can always add more. That's the thing. And they're sensitive. They're sensitive to this stuff. So that's what I had as far as images.
I love it.
Have we missed anything that you can think of, Shayla? Or anyone else that has pets? Does anyone have anything they would want to share? Because, you know, we give away prizes.
All right, so I'm going to share this. This is the Crazy Book.
Okay.
And it is the vet. She's done a ton of research. She is a Young Living, so you have to kind of go between the oils with that. But it's a pretty amazing book.
Can you hold that up one more time?
And Renee, I did see you. We'll get to you as soon as Shayla shares. Yeah. Oh, Shayla, talk.
Yeah. And then the last thing that
hold it up again while you're talking.
There we go. I just used the rose roller on their backs because I was getting a little frustrated with the pooping issue, and oh my god, it worked awesome.
So rose.
The rose touch on my fingers, and then I just rubbed up their backs, and we're all good.
Well, that's good. Hopefully you'll be done with that for good.
No, because they'll drink out of the lake next time we go. It'll be it's a summertime thing. You guys have fleas, I have that.
Oh gosh. I think I take the fleas. Okay, Renee. I think you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Okay, our dog just got sprayed by a skunk. And so what we read, we Googled it really quick. And then it was saying to use like baking soda and I think some peroxide with a little bit of dish soap and you put that on them first. And then it said after that, rinse that off and then use, it said lavender and peppermint with like a gentle dog soap. And it really did help get this the skunk smell out. But I wanted to see if you guys had any more or other recommendations as far as something like that goes.
Oh, very cool.
Shayla?
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Shayla was shaking her head yes as far as your peroxide and go ahead, Shayla.
Yeah, that concoction of hydrogen peroxide, dish soap or hand soap, and baking soda, as long you want to put it on them for as long as they'll let you keep it on them, because the smell, it's amazing. And then you can do whatever after, but that's all I used to use was because my dogs used to get sprayed all the time, and just making it's like you make it so it's like a masky pasty thing, and you just put it on and leave it on as long as you can and then rinse it off. And usually it was one time and it was good. So that's the best I've found thus far.
Okay, I remember I was like in my early 20s and our roommate had a dog and I think he was away and we took him for a walk and he got sprayed. And back then, the thing to use was like tomato paste.
Yeah.
It was such a mess. It was it was everywhere and he shook and we were covered in tomato paste. So I like your recipe much better, Renee. Thank you for sharing that. Anne Marie. Oh, go ahead. Do you have another one?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Can you please repeat all that? My husband was calling me right when you were Shayla was talking about it and I missed the whole thing.
I think she pretty much said what you're using is the best recipe she has found. You make a paste, right, with what you said, the peroxide and
then try to keep it on as long as they'll let you.
Yeah.
And then the peppermint and the lavender, that was a good essential oil to use for that as well.
Yep. She's saying.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Shayla, can you repeat what you said about the hairballs? Because I have that cat too, the ginormous, fluffy fur ball, and the hairballs are like ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel so bad every time they're doing that too. You're like, really? That looks hard. Anyways, I take a mason jar, 3/4 of a cup of baking soda, 2 to 4 drops of frankincense and digestin, and then shake it up and let it sit for 24 hours. And then you put just like a teaspoon, like I just shake a little bit on the litter box once I clean it. Every time I clean it, just shake a little bit on there.
I love it.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Can you do that as a preventative? Like, could you just like Stang's just starting out with a cat? Could she do that like as a routine? Shayla?
Yeah, for sure. And one thing for a lot of cats, they have urinary tract issues. It's just a cat thing. And so instead of putting in the digestin, if she wants to use digestin, you can put that too. But little bit of juniper berry is the other big one for cats to help with their urinary tract. And I put frankincense just because it's such a great oil anyways. But it's just a tiny bit, and you just let it sit and marinate for a day, and then just a little bit on their litter box.
Every time. That's awesome. I love juniper berry.
So cool. I love it. I love learning these tips and tricks. It's just,
I know.
Right?
Yeah, I think that rose oil one came from Alicia a couple days ago. I was like, oh, I'll try that. It'll make me feel better at least.
Well, and rose oil, you know, what people have used for like MRSA and stuff. So that stuff.
Yeah.
be very supportive for the big stuff.
She is the queen.
The king and queen. All right. Well, I think we shared a lot of great tidbits today, and thank you for those of you who shared. Renee, I'll have a little something for you because you did share a great recipe for skunk scent removal.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions for us before we let you get to your Saturday?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you guys have anything for dental health for dogs?
Oh,
that's a big one.
Good one. I was actually thinking of that too. I'm so glad you brought that up. Shayla?
I do.
What does your book say?
I'm looking, I think just off the top of my, what I would say right off the top of my head is dilute On Guard, like way dilute it and just rub it on their
That's what
gums
it says.
The gums.
a little bit and see how they react, because that sometimes the cinnamon might be a bit much, but I'm in E right now. So now we're
Shayla, that's exactly what it says. I have a handout right here all about dogs. I've got one for dogs and one for cats. If anybody wants these, just shoot me your address and I'll be happy to throw them in the mail for you. But for tooth problems, gum loss, that kind of thing, it says 8 to 10 drops of the On Guard in a 2-ounce bottle and fill the rest with fractionated coconut oil. I would probably do less than 8 to 10 drops, in all honesty, maybe half that, like Dean had been saying. And then it just says to apply that to the gums and teeth morning and night.
I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah?
Yeah, so this actually says pretty much exactly the same thing. It actually says using the On Guard toothpaste.
Oh, very cool.
I'm just not sure if that has
Xylitol.
Yes, does it have that in it?
I think it does.
So you wouldn't want to use that. But then for single oils, it says clove, helichrysum, laurel, melaleuca, myrrh, and wintergreen.
Which are, maybe just stick to the On Guard.
Yeah,
Right?
so too.
Very diluted, like you said, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I have a bad breath biscuit recipe as well. I don't know if that's along the lines of dental health.
Yes, Renee, we'll get that. We'll send that to you for sure.
Yeah.
I think the dental health is a huge one because like that's, you know, I think it happens to almost every dog, and that's where you like spend the big bucks, right? Which I don't
Really?
because I'm cheap, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, you know, and everyone's like their breath, and so I'm gonna start using On Guard.
Oh
And
my
for a
God.
while, what I was doing was I was putting a little bit just a tiny bit of the On Guard mouthwash in their water.
Ooh.
But it has xylitol in it, so it's always a trade-off. They say chocolate's bad for dogs. I had a golden retriever that ate chocolate all the time. So I don't know about the xylitol, like if it's in huge amounts or if it's in little tiny amounts. So I kind of stopped doing it, but it's so good for them. And that this book has that in it as well. It says to use that mouthwash.
Yeah,
Just a little tiny bit.
Yeah, so maybe in you know, like you said, maybe it's a large dose thing. If they, you know, eat the whole toothpaste tube, they might probably get an upset tummy, right?
Yeah. Charlie ate a chocolate bar last week. He's fine.
My dog once ate a chocolate cake. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, my golden retriever my mom used to always get on us because she's like, that candy's for guests. That candy's not for you guys to eat. We're like, we didn't eat it. And then like maybe a week later, I go to clean up the dog poop out in the backyard. And I'm like, ha, look, Mom. You know, it had
Right
all the,
here.
Dog.
the candy kisses, the foil from the chocolate kisses, all in the poo. And I was like, yes.
See, Mom? See?
Come see. That's nice. We like to look at that stuff.
Oh gosh.
Oh my.
All right. Well, we are at 9:35. Thank you, everyone, especially Shayla, for the great information, and Bex too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We will post this. If you want to ever share the video with a friend who has a pet who wasn't able to make it, please share. Sharing is caring. So, and invite them. The more, the merrier. We love having you guys all here. So.
Thanks, you guys, for putting it on.
Yes, Bex will be solo next week because I will be out of the area. So sorry, Bex, for that. But
it's all good. It's all good. I'm drumming up a topic and I will let you know, but just be ready. 8:30 next week. We'll do something good. If you've got any suggestions or any requests, let me know and I'll research.
Oh yeah, always let us know because we're here for you.
That's it.
Our slogan.
I feel like it's right. We need to get bumper stickers, Gina.
We do. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. Right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.